So I was so hesitant to do this, and I've been putting this off so much because when I decided to launch my podcast, I was like, I'm gonna be so consistent, ain't nothing gonna stop me. I'm the queen of consistency. This is what I talk about, this is what I teach, this is what I preach, this is all the things, this is what my business stands on. And then a week before my birthday, my dad died. And this is my first time doing a podcast since then. And even tonight, I was putting it on, putting it off, putting it off. And I said, what are you really putting off? And I had to really ask myself. So I guess for this episode, it will be just me. And I would like it if you could just sit with me for a second. And I want to talk about this idea of resilience is coming to mind. This idea of operating in a new space. And for some reason, the word guilt is coming up for me. But I'm going to say guilt and grace. How those things can coexist, how they're coexisting for me, and what that looks like. So, welcome, girl, to episode 11 of Conquer Conversations. Already, my mind is just like, what's going on? So, if you've been listening to the pod, but you're not really plugged into the community, I am so sorry. These past couple of weeks have been crazy. I love this podcast. This podcast is such a priority to me. Like I said, I was like, this is the year. I started at the end of last year. I was like, I'm gonna do my podcast. It's something I've really been wanting to do, and it's here. And today is March the 17th, and the day that this drops, I didn't even intend for this. On March the 18th is going to be 1 month since my dad died suddenly. And I am the child that lives out of state. So I spent a week in Memphis watching my dad die. So let's jump straight into Deb's diary so I can give you a quick look at what's been going on in my life behind the scenes, okay? Okay, so first thing with Deb's diaries is a couple of things, girl. So welcome back to the podcast. I'm excited. Thank God. Like when you've been putting something off for a long time and you finally do it, you're like, huh. Like putting it off was so much worse than just doing it and just getting through it and getting to it. But if you were to ask me what I've been up to lately, girl, a lot of stuff. So first of all, your girl turned 34 since the last podcast. I did a podcast episode at the beginning of February. My birthday was on February 26th. Your girl turned 34. Okay. So I always do like this is something I just do for myself. I always do like a theme for my birthday year, for my year. And my theme for the year 34 is going to be, for me, is building an icon. How can I really make sure that I'm transitioning into thought patterns, habits, and a value system that are going to create the foundation for me to be iconic, for Conquer to be iconic, for me to change the world, change the game, change my life, be on the stage with the 200,000 people in Australia, empowering them to wake up and conquer. If I want to be that iconic, what do I have to embody today? What do I have to conquer today in 2025 to make that happen? So that's what I'm on. That's what I'm on personally for the year 34. I love the 30s. Y'all always hear me talk about this. I love the 30s because I feel like I'm young enough to still have what I feel like is so much ahead of me. But got a little wisdom, got a little experience, got stability. I spent my 20s grinding and working and building my first home and establishing my career and trying to skyrocket and promote myself throughout my career. So now for me to be in my 30s, being able to enjoy this full time in my home that I love every day, my social circle, my business growing. It's just chef's kisses, okay? So cheers to chapter 34, girl. My birthday was on the 26th. And then my dad's funeral was a couple of days later. My birthday was on a Wednesday. So for my birthday, my husband took me out to this spot here in Dallas, girl. Yes, Paparazzi Lounge, girl. Great vibes, great food, great drinks. Y'all know I love a cute little 1-2 out on the town. And so it was so bittersweet, but I'm glad we celebrated. I ordered some dresses off Fashion Nova at the last minute because I told myself that I was truly going to regret not celebrating. So the next morning I got up and we went to Memphis. My dad's wake was that Friday. His funeral was that Saturday. And then that Sunday I came back to Texas. A year older, just looking at life in a completely different way. And you know what's crazy, friend, is I said that when I do my podcast that I was going to be so I ride this line between making sure I honor myself and keeping things private, but also honoring how good it feels to just live my truth out loud. It's really interesting that my dad passed around my birthday, and I'm gonna tell you why. Last year on my birthday, I made a post, and my post was basically me sharing my heartbreak out loud. That it had been a birthday where I hadn't heard from my parents, and that my parents hadn't really tried to come down, see me, yada yada yada. All these things that I had in the back of my mind. That was last birthday. And it was a moment where I shared a very dark and uncomfortable truth that I was experiencing, which is this idea of being a Black millennial with a very loving yet layered and complicated relationship with my parents. It's just God honest truth. And here I am the very next year posting that he's gone. That's it. Story over. That's it. And so I also had to sit with, and shout out to my best friend that was texting me, like, friend, are you journaling? Like, friend, are you getting it out? Like, shout out to you, friend. I had to really sit with the idea that a lot of things can be true at once. And it was a lot for me to sit with, as you can imagine, I'm sure, right? Publicly talking about the complicated parts of the relationship. And so my thing was, because I did that, I want to make sure that I also honor the great things about the dad that I had. And he is the reason why I sit in front of you so bold and so just, girl, what's up? Because he was the dad that was like, you smart, like you ain't like them other kids, beautiful. I love you. Like all of the things. You want something? All right, go in there and get it. Go grab it. And then, girl, I guess what he told my husband, he said, all right, baby, it's your turn now. So let me pull myself down. Because sometimes when you do content like this, it's a very weird and vulnerable space to be in because I want to be honest because I know that there is a woman that's listening to this, can relate to this, and even if you can't relate to the exact situation, you just can understand the mental gymnastics or the tricks that your mind will play on you when you've got a lot on your shoulders. Um, but I want to say this. I Man, I knew doing this episode was gonna be tough for me. I knew it. I knew that because I'm trying to find the words, and maybe I'm trying too hard, that describe what this experience was like. And I don't know if I have the words. I have the words, but they contradict each other. And I remember my therapist telling me that as humans, we're contradictory. I remember her using that word, and it really stuck with me. But um the day of my dad's wake, and if you follow me on social media, I shared the very raw experience of going to Memphis and attending his funeral and doing the obituary and everything. I shared it in my story. So make sure you follow me online, Conquer with Deb or Deb Lister on Facebook and Instagram because that's where I share. When I saw my dad in the casket, I saw him on life support for a week, can't talk, sedated, kind of out of it. But when I saw him in a casket on that Friday, it was a true out of body experience for me. And it's an experience that I've only ever had a very few memorable and traumatic times where what's happening around me feels like what's happening around me has just truly just overtaken me in a way where I couldn't control it, then desire to control it. And I let myself, thank God I got to the wake first, girl. Because if other people would have seen me toe up over that casket like that, girl, they would have put a sheet over me. They'd have been like, oh Lord, baby, bring the usher to the front, baby, carry this girl up out of here. Okay. When I say the coaching people would have been hustling all over me, telling me it's gonna be all right, girl. I'm so glad that I had a space in that room, and I want you to think I'm walking in. I got my little doorstop heels on, and I'm walking in, and the funeral home is the marble floors, all of the pews, and I look up, and I've did the obituary. I ordered his clothes. I know how he looked. Um, you know, but being in there, and I walked in, and I glanced, and I saw from the door him in that casket. Oh, it took the breath out of my body. Like it literally took my friend, it took my breath away. Friend, it took my breath away. And it was like it was it I just remember how much I was trying to like my husband was I was it literally took the breath out of me to see my parent dead in the casket. And when I walked up to him, it was just uncontrollable grief And also, something transpired in that moment, and I'm gonna share this and then I'm gonna move on, girl, because I know this is heavy, friend. I didn't even ask you if I could trauma dump on you today, friend. But what I experienced in that moment was also gratitude. And I just remember, and I hope I don't start crying, girl, because you know I'm a crybaby. But I just remember, I want to be able to just share my truth in a way that feels right, feels real. I remember standing at the casket, and I remember literally praising God. I was like, I'm so glad you were my daddy. Like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I experienced immense gratitude for my daddy, probably like I've never have. It was just a pure love and just acknowledgement for the gift that I was given as a parent. So girl, it was a lot, friend. Woo, girl, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. But it also, unfortunately, funerals and moments like this have ways of bringing forth other things, like love and family and hanging out with folks I ain't seen in a long time, reconnecting with people I haven't seen in a long time. And those things blessed me. It truly blessed me in a way that when you're an entrepreneur like me and you're busy and people only see your life on Facebook, I guess people just assume like, you just assume I'm so busy and all of those things. And also me taking ownership for making time for this stuff before a funeral, you know. And I said that I wouldn't share this on the podcast because I don't want to share all my business, but I'm going to share it. I remember God kind of like hit me in the back of the head with a flip flop a little bit, saying, and I remember these words so clearly: I want you to be more well rounded, was what God gave me. Said, Deb, I want you to be more well rounded. And I know you want that for you too. So now I'm in a season where I want to intentionally be well rounded in a way that honors who I am, but also stretches me to get out of my comfort zone. I'll say that. So, yes, girl, birthday, went out, did a 1-2, went to the funeral, came back, had a birthday party at the house. It was beautiful. Hopefully, you follow my stories because I shared that too on my Facebook and Instagram. Then my grandma turned 90, so we went back to Memphis last weekend for the 90th birthday party. So, all the people on my granny side, which is my mom's side, and yeah. And in the midst of that, my business is probably the busiest it's been since like the pandemic. So that's it for Deb's Diary, girl. Let's get into our main topic because, yeah. Okay, so what I'm learning here is I'm feeling a couple of things, and I don't. This is not gonna be no super long episode, girl, because I'm already on here about crying. I feel like resilience is probably going to be like a cornerstone pathway to greatness. The ability to be resilient. Let me tell you what I think when I think resilient, and you tell me what you think about being resilient. I had never really resonated with the word resilient, even though people would call me resilient, because I felt resilient was like you saying, hey, my situation is so bad, but I'm going to push through anyway. And I never really identified with that type of language because even though these things are happening now, I'm literally thanking God because my life is so amazing, so beautiful, and so perfect for me. That was the date and time that was supposed to happen in my life. Right. Now, when I think about resilience, I think about the ability to say, hey, these things are happening around me, And there are parts of this that I cannot control. There are emotions I cannot control. There are feelings that I'm not going to be able to control. But there are small parts that I can control. And I really want to make sure that as I transition to this new era, this new season, this whole building an icon thing, and I heard this on a podcast earlier about the idea of not letting my feelings take me to a place that has me so disconnected with what I want for myself. Maybe because I've been there, been in a situation where externally it was so much. I had to shift everything about myself, dishonor myself in what I want, and just for this thing, this idea, this person, this tragedy that happened, this death, where it rocked me so much I couldn't even wake up and honor myself at all. I don't want to be in that place. So when I think resilience, I think, yes, sucky situation, something happened, probably a lot of stuff I can't control. But I cannot allow this to put me in a place where I can't honor myself at all. And I might be biting my words. Because with this grief with my dad also brought up terrifying feelings of fear around death for other people around me. My husband, my mom, now she's the only parent I got left living. My siblings. I'm like, that was my first experience with grief, friend. And I'm like, oh, it's sudden and it's forever. Like obviously I get the concept of it, but for it to happen, I was like, oh wow, it's sudden and it's forever. And that's gonna happen to other people I love? And you mean to tell me they're gonna go suddenly too? Uh, Girl, put me in the corner, throw a blanket over me, and let me cry. Cause what? It challenges me to think about what I want for myself, what I want for my life and my business. And I also remember being in my dad's funeral and thinking, okay, he's gone. So now I am his legacy. And I love how much I love myself at times because it's so inspiring. I was able to have moments of gratitude for myself because of the way that I have really leaned into this idea of loving me, living for me, doing things for me, doing purposeful work, enjoying life, best I can, and building something like Conquer Like. That makes me so proud. And it makes me so happy because I know my dad was so freaking proud that I'm taking the legacy baton and doing this with it. There is magic in mess. And the reason why I'm calling it magic is because you can't see it. You don't know it's coming. You don't know how it's going to appear. And I can think about that and make it ring true for a lot of different situations that I've been through where I'm like, whew, baby. I'm barely making it. Okay, a girl is swimming upstream here. I'm in a messy situation, and there is this undeniable magic that shows up in a way of learning a beautiful lesson, a beautiful connection, something new gained. There is magic and mess. And I want to say that I'm back. We're doing the podcast. We're here. We'll be here on Tuesdays. Today was a Deb's diary, what I've been up to. I missed some weeks and I didn't show up for you, for this podcast, for myself. But friend, girl, it was rough. Thank God for a village. It still is a very invisible weight, but we're here. Okay. We're here. So that's a wrap for episode 11 because, girl, that's all I have. And my goal for this is for me to jump back into this podcast, for me to let this out that I am a business owner and all these things, but I am a human having a human experience, and I give myself grace for that. I see the magic in that, but I also see the mess. I see the complicated parts, the guilt, the love, the gratitude. I see all of those things, and I'm so here for it, and I'm a better woman because of it. So, even as now I'm transitioning to learning how to live life this way. It's a presence almost like it's an invisible presence with my dad being gone the way that it happened. It was a lot, but like I said, we're here. All right. I guess that's kind of like my Conquer confession, girl. My Conquer confession was just how I navigated that experience, the birthday to birthday, the difference. Mind blowing, but it is life. We will conquer, we will move forward. I want you to see this version of me when you see me on live, when you see me on stage, when you see me doing all of the things. Like I said, many things can be true at once. I can be all of those things and also be this too. So, and so can you. We can do all of these things and still be worthy, still be amazing, still be awesome, and still be so deserving of everything that we want inside of our businesses. So worthy. So, this is my time to tell myself that we can do this. Okay. So, there's magic and mess, friend. I'll see you next Tuesday in Conquer Conversations. And yeah, that's it, girl. Good night, friend. I'll see you next week.